Yo, what's going on, everyone? Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Now, today we got to talk about a specific team, but before we get into that, bro, we got to talk about all the games that happened today because there were some absolute firecracker of games, bro. If you guys missed them, I'm gonna quickly go over them, but then we got to talk about a specific team who I think is probably the most disappointing team so far. All right, so let's start off with the first game of the day, which was the U.S. versus Australia. I'll quickly pull it up for you guys to see it. Obviously, I'm from the U.S., and before I made my final predictions, I told you guys, bro. This US team, they convinced me, bro. I genuinely think they can make it far. Now, in my predictions, I didn't necessarily have them topping the group or anything, but I did say they were looking a lot stronger after they beat Senegal and their game against Germany. I think they had a good game against Germany and they won against Senegal. So those two games put me a lot higher on the US. Now, is Australia, a very good team? Let's be honest, they're not very good. They're very physical, in their like structure. They're very like big as well. So sometimes it is hard to get some crosses in. But the US, they don't play like fishing for those crosses. They're very technical on the ball. They hit you with their wingers. They cut back, and that's how we saw the first goal from Balogun. It was an own goal, but I mean it was similar to what Pulisic did against Paraguay last week, where he just completely cracked open the defense, and then he makes a pass to the striker who's in a good position, and the defense taps it in for them. So I think that was a good goal. A lot of people were trying to say that Australia, like it was Australia's fault, but at the end of the day, like Balogun cooked his defender. He put in a good ball, and it's always going to be just a luck-based thing on whether it goes in. So I think Balogun did very good. If we look at the match momentum, I think USA had most of the possession, I'd say, throughout the game. But obviously towards the end, we dropped off a little bit because we were kind of a little bit lost, I'd say. Without, we didn't really want to go forward too much because we didn't want Australia to come back into the game, which I'm very happy we got a clean sheet. I think that's my favorite thing that happened today. We didn't get scored on. We scored 2. We came out with a dub. We got the 3 points. So that's pretty much all I wanted to touch upon in terms of like the USA versus Australia game. I'm really happy with what we saw from the team. Now moving on to Scotland, Morocco. This game was pretty good. I mean, it was honestly pretty kind of boring. I'm not gonna lie. Morocco, obviously, they're pretty solid defensively. They came out, scored early. The guy that's going to Bayern Munich, I don't want to say his name, because I'm really bad at like pronouncing words. But this guy right here got an 8-point rating. Morocco, I don't know, bro. I think they're good, but they're not exciting to watch in my opinion, so can't really talk about much there. And then the Brazil-Haiti game, we all pretty much expected Brazil to get the dub, and they did. They got 3 goals, 2 coming from Matheus Cunha, who I think is very good at the number 9 position for Brazil. We saw Igor Thiago try the number 9 position in their first game against Morocco. He dropped an absolute stinker, bro. He just was not it. So Matheus Cunha stepped up for him, and I think that fits his spot very well. We got Casemiro in the midfield, being a defensive midfielder with Bruno Guimaraes and Paqueta. I think that the midfield trio is pretty solid. The back line with the 2 center backs and Danilo, and as well as Santos and Alisson. I think the defense is looking pretty good too. But the bad thing is Rafinha is now officially injured, I'm pretty sure. So he's probably not going to be starting for the next game against Scotland, which is going to be a big game because it's going to decide who goes to 3rd place and who goes to 2nd place. I mean, this is all based on if Morocco beat Haiti, right? Because we're kind of assuming that they will. But at the end of the day, I think this is a good look for Brazil. Obviously, they're going to want to score as many goals as possible, and a 3-0 against Haiti, the smaller team in the group, that's a good thing. And Endrick came on. I thought he was solid. I always like Endrick. I think he's very, he has a lot of prowess. He has a sight for goal, so, I think he did well today. And then now talking about the last game, bro. This is what I really wanted to talk about, the meat and potatoes. The group, the team that I think disappointed the most this World Cup, it's Turkey, bro. What did I just see from Turkey, bro? When I was watching their game against Australia, I thought, okay, this is just a fluke. This is just like Australian defense going crazy. But, bro, this Turkey team, offensively, their strikers, buns, bro. Genuinely buns, bro. You're telling me you couldn't crack down a 10-man Paraguay team for 45 minutes? They were doing the same thing for like the whole game, bro. They would keep possession right outside of the box. They'd pass it to their wingers. Their wingers would cut back, pass it to the people that were gonna fake a shot. Once they faked a shot, they would cross it over, and then hopefully they get a header or something. Bro, their strikers were not good enough. Paraguay came out early. They sat back for the rest of the game, and Turkey's now gone. I had them topping the group. I literally thought they were going to top the group because they had players like Kenan Yildiz and Arda Güler, who honestly I think they played very, very well. But at the end of the day, bro, if your striker's not doing the job and putting it in the back of the net, all your work is going to go for nothing, right? And they tried to take shots from outside, but I don't think they tried enough, bro. They needed a little bit more creativity. I don't know what was going on. Maybe some more pace. Every time, like, because Paraguay would still go on the attack every once in a while. So I think maybe they should have let Paraguay keep the ball a little bit, attack, then got on the counter. Because once they spread out Paraguay, they looked the most dangerous. But they still could not put the ball away, bro. And I don't know what the hell is the problem with Turkey, bro. But they didn't even score one goal this entire tournament, bro. One goal. You basically came to the World Cup and did nothing. You did nothing. You got beaten by Australia because you slept and they beat you on the counters and you didn't score a goal that game. And then you get beaten by a 10-man Paraguay who the U.S. scored 4 on, by the way. I don't know how the U.S. scored 4 on this team, bro. Because Paraguay were looking solid defensively, bro. And I think they do have a very good, solid defensive record. So they're a very organized team. So I don't know how the U.S. scored 4 on them, but that's besides the point, bro. At the end of the day, you just got to look at the manager because the manager, he came out and put those players out for the second half of the Turkey versus Paraguay game. And I think he just told them, play the same thing, maybe slow the game down a little bit, we'll get our goal. But once it's the 60th minute, once it's basically the fourth quarter because the hydration breaks, and you still don't have a goal, bro, you got to change something up, bro. You got to, I don't know, man. Like, I think Yildiz had some of the right ideas, taking it down the line and crossing it to the strikers. But dude, the strikers were not getting in the best position. Paraguay had their defense on lock. And then Arda Güler just could not pronounce himself in this game. I genuinely think it just came down to Paraguay's defense and the fact that Turkey just ran out of ideas, bro. And they had that one chance at the last second of the game. Arda Güler crosses it to their striker. Or I think it was their attacking midfielder, actually. I don't think it was their striker. Because number 9 was stinking it up on the pitch, bro. He had a rebound off of a shot that could have went in. I think he was offsides. But either way, he could have tapped that in. But the last play of the game, Arda Güler crosses it, and that could have saved them from being eliminated from the World Cup. But no, they're officially the first team eliminated from the World Cup, which is insane, bro. I mean, it's sad, but at the same time, you can't look at it and be like, they deserve to go through because they don't. Paraguay, I think, were the better team today. They had the better plan. They came out early. They got the goal. They sat back, and they just couldn't. I think the Paraguay coach knew that Turkey did not have the creativity to break down Paraguay's defense, especially after the display that they did against Australia. So, it is sad to see players like Yildiz go because it was their first World Cup, and you wanted to see Yildiz ball out. He's been very good for Juventus, as well as Arda Güler, bro. I'm a Barca fan. I don't like Arda Güler, but I wanted to see him, take his country far because that's what the World Cup's all about. And unfortunately, we didn't get to see that this World Cup, but maybe in the next 4 years, they can get a better squad and try it out again. Because I do think this Turkey team is good, bro. But, man, maybe they just ran out of luck. Maybe they just ran out. I mean, because look at their form coming into the games, bro. They beat Venezuela. They beat North Macedonia. They beat Kosovo. I mean, these teams are not very good. But still, bro, like, they were heading into this tournament with pretty decent form. And like I said, I had them topping the group. But as of now, as it stands, Turkey is the first team eliminated from the group. You guys let me know your thoughts down below. You guys let me know about your match day 2. I don't know what I'm going to title this video. Probably like the first World Cup team eliminated or something. If you guys are Turkish, I'm sorry. I do feel bad for you guys. I don't think you guys deserve to go out this early. But at the same time, it is what it is, bro. Sometimes it just happens like that. And yeah, But anyways, guys, you guys let me know what you guys thought down below. That's going to be it from me. You guys take care and peace.